Morning, 5 o'clock. Call this meeting of the DPW Building Committee to order at 5 p.m. Present, Mary Beth Carter, Dennis Smith, Dave Cook, Bruce Martin, Rick Anderson, Dave LeMay, and our illustrious recorder, Erica, and our two favorite team people, Scott. Pardon?
Tom?
Oh, yeah, Scott and Tom. Sorry about that, Tom. All right, so now you got it all. First item on the agenda is to approve meeting minutes from April 14th. Are we ready to do that, folks?
Yes. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so Mr. Anderson moves to accept the minutes
Second.
from April 14th. Mary Beth seconded. As presented, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 601, 7. Unanimous. Okay. Scott, there's an agenda here, item for construction progress.
All right.
Can our illustrious team put that together?
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we had a nice, pretty good April in terms of progress, and we're in a pretty good spot within the building. Even though we are technically past where we had originally planned at the onset of the project, we'd be about substantially done now. In a couple weeks, but we did finalize the PCO 16 this past month, which is in change order 6, as well as the security upgrade change order, which was PCO 17.
Should have put that in bronze.
Yeah. We will we'll go over the summary of that and answer any questions if there are any in a few minutes. But just in terms of progress, they are getting pretty. I understand there was a walkthrough recently with some of the staff, and the other day.
Yeah, that was on Friday. It was the staff from your office.
Yep, and hopefully everything was looking pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of the finishes are done. I would say the admin area is pretty much substantially complete, with kind of punch list operations ongoing, and obviously there's going to be startups and things like that and actually this week they're going to be starting up some of the units now that we have permanent power that was turned on at the end of last month, and commissioning will be ongoing. So,
Bruce, how was it received? How was the walkthrough received by the
So we've been
people
doing
that-
walkthroughs periodically with the guys, a lot of times on Friday afternoons. So that walkthrough that they were talking about was with the two admin personnel, but my guys, we've been walking through once a month on Friday. So I did a walkthrough with the guys last week, and my crew, and then go up.
Great.
And when I walked through on Friday with Lonnie and Melissa, I believe it was some of the highway guys that joined as well. I'm not sure. And they seemed to like it. I brought them through the admin space, showed them.
Yeah, I'd hate to think we spent $20 million and they didn't like it.
How could it not be?
They definitely wanted more.
yeah, it's a nice building. It's coming together.
It's certainly an upgrade to what you're used to on both sides.
If you walk them through a tent, late. Yeah.
Sorry
They
to
almost have the
interrupt
wood
you,
stove up and running over there.
Hey, Bruce, there you go. You don't get a window, but you can have a stove.
They still bring up more dilute.
Just to get squirt right into it. Bruce, you got a window, don't you? Over in your back? Over in your office?
I don't have a window.
No, it doesn't open.
A piece of glass window would
Yeah,
why that open.
So, in that admin area, the finished carpeting's down, vinyl base is going in, or is mostly in. They did the window sills, ceiling tiles is pretty much all the way in. in the bathrooms, the finished plumbing's in, and the toilet accessories are in. The kitchenette and finished millwork has been installed. Mostly they're finished. They were working on some more today in the break room area. As I said, they're just the finish that's left is a lot more like just mechanical commissioning type stuff, and just getting systems up and running shortly once they get farther along with kind of final construction clean and like final cleaning, stuff like that. That's still a little ways out for final cleaning, but before we turn things on, we just want to make sure there's no dust in the building, things like that. Just
Mr. Salvucci entered at 5:06 p.m.
Any questions on progress over the last month?
No, I think the progress that's been happening lately is great. I thought we'd never get an end to that change order.
Yeah, I know
It's
that was.
really amazing. And I'm pleased. I think it was a fair offer and acceptance, and we'll just move on.
And that brings out the completion date to the end of July. So we've been talking about moving out of the green building in beginning of June.
You know, that's fine. That's fine if it's not an imposition on the people that are currently operating. We do have a contract end date, and we do have a date that we're. I want to do it if it makes sense for everybody. If it doesn't compromise your operation, Bruce, or yours, Dave, that's fine. But let's make sure that it's appropriate.
So Dave and I have talked about it. I've talked to Kevin.
I know Kevin has some opinions on it as well.
So, in the interest of working with the general contractor and just making the project move quicker, they gave us a date of May 19th where we could get into those 4 bays and move some stuff into there. We could put a lot in those 4 bays. And we will we're going to move, our crews are going to go to the armory every day now.
Okay.
After that, we're going to go to the armory. We're going to have a break room at the armory. We kind of cleaned some of it out already. We're going to bring a refrigerator up there. And we're going to just have the guy drive the personal vehicles to the armory every morning. That's where we'll start the day. That's where we'll end the day. And that's where they'll have lunch. And that way they can get moving on the front building.
And you'll have access to what areas
As far as
in the new building on May 19th?
the 4 bays that face south before and
In the storage, the vehicle housing.
yeah. So we won't be in any of the other building at all for maintenance or admin, which is fine. We have a maintenance area we've been operating out of for a year, so that doesn't change anything for them.
And we're going to have the building inspector issue a partial occupancy permit for that?
We asked for that in writing. They said that they verbally approved it, but as of right now, my position would be that not to move until we get something.
Till we have something in writing.
From the building.
We have a builder's risk policy in place with Maya. In order for us to move in there and not jeopardize our coverage, we have to have sign off by the inspection office. So let's follow through with Rob and make sure that he's prepared to issue a temporary partial CO.
When's it have to be done by?
May 19th.
Tight for next month.
Temporary partial occupancy.
Next month.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't. if for like, let's just say a good day for you to move is on a Friday, right, or Thursday or something. If you don't have something by then maybe you're saying, hey, look, we'll get out of there the 22nd or 23rd. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it shouldn't be like a big burden. We're trying to help them out, but
It's also
need-
2
that's
weeks.
my
something
point.
in
It's
writing.
a 2-week period. I think you have from our meeting on Wednesday. I believe it was from the 19th.
Yeah, I
Tony
missed
said
that.
the
so.
30th to get out of there. So I think that's 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
they said.
Okay.
Which
Hopefully we
leaves-
can get in those 4 bays by the 19th, and so that gives us 2 weeks to do that, and then because they want to be in on the following Monday, not of the 19th, so that June 30th, whatever it is,
26th, or the second.
Monday.
Just want to cover the,
But yeah, if we're
May
not quite
19th
there
is
yet,
this Monday.
we have no problem with telling Peter that we need a couple more days.
Right.
now when you go in there, the fire alarm system has to be up and running. I don't think he'll give you an occupancy permit without that.
We had a fire alarm rough a couple weeks ago. Inspection.
Okay.
yeah, but they have. So I think they were doing. Let's see, because we just gave them the monitoring company's information the other day. I sent that off to Tony. So.
Oh, flight alarm, yeah.
Yeah. So again, we'll see where they're at this Wednesday.
We just got some things to cover for that, Bruce.
So excuse me, Scott, who's contacting, do you want me to contact Rob or on the temporary?
Let's send,
Who's doing that?
if you would
The building
initiate
inspector?
Yeah.
a memo to the building inspector indicating that the DPW is seeking partial occupancy on May 19th, and we'd like to have written approval. And Bruce can tie down the spaces we're going to be occupying.
Okay.
We need to cover the bases.
You could be very specific too, that it's just for the purpose of storing
Right.
equipment.
And it's for moving equipment in, it's not for working in the site.
There'll be
Yeah, it's a big-
counts of water meters and valves and stuff like that, and maybe some asphalt roller or things like that.
And he can limit it any way he wants in his letter for storage or
Right,
whatever.
there's no personnel working in there, right?
No, we won't be working out of there.
All
We
sto-
probably
all
won't
storage.
even-
All
yeah.
Why do
storage.
you need a fire alarm? Why does the fire alarm system have to be,
It's
if there's no personnel working?
That's probably more-
Protection of the building and equipment.
Yeah.
If you're moving things in and out,
Okay.
I'm speculating that he will want that.
Well, for code
I gotta
purposes,
put 2 generators.
I'm
don't want to
speculating that he will want,
He goes by the.
A working system.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, if he wants to sign off with a pending alarm system, fine, as long as we have sign off for it.
All right, I'll send the email and then you'll give him whatever information he needs.
Yes, I mean, I
he
think
has any
it'd be
questions.
more on Peter to talk to him.
We'll follow up with
Yeah.
Peter and get in touch with these.
At least he'll know it's coming
So the
from us.
19th is Monday.
Right. So, but
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Listen, but the 19th is,
Haven't been looking at the
the
date.
19th is the beginning of our move. So, like,
Right.
if it's not done by the 19th, like, if he doesn't give the okay by the 19th, he gives the okay, the 22nd, whatever. That's when we'll start.
That's when you start
Yeah.
moving, okay.
And if that sets, their, their Monday date of starting the asbestos remediation, and they have a front building, sets it back a day or two. But I don't think it will. 'Cause I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
it's gonna take us that
the
long.
burden is on them to get the
Right.
temp C of O. It's not up to us.
Right.
We can. We'll help facilitate if we, by talking to the.
Guess I should have looked at a calendar when I started talking
Yeah,
about the
I'm like, okay.
I
tomorrow's Tuesday.
lost a week.
Like I said,
Sorry about
we'll
that.
talk about it on Wednesday, see where they're at, and see if they need to any adjustments. Maybe they're anticipating an inspection.
We'll find out how Rob feels about it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else on just? I can keep kind of going through the
Sure.
report. Just we've had the commissioning agent, and he's had a couple site visits, and we have startups scheduled for this week on the 14th and 15th. they're going to start up the ERU, the boiler, and the, what was the third thing? I have it on
VRF
here.
system.
The VRF system, yeah. Just in terms of administrative items on HKA's we've been coordinating with them on a daily and weekly basis. We've been having our weekly Wednesday meetings. We're up to 289 submittals, and just one's pending action. That's the access control and security system. We just got some comments back from Josh today. That submittal's been in for just over a couple weeks now, so we're going to try to get a response back. I talked to HK earlier today, and we're hoping to get something either ended today or tomorrow. There is a couple other items that Josh brought up that we're going to get on a call and hash them out to see the best way to deal with those. It might be something where we recommend just buying it through our FF&E budget rather than going through the contract, but we'll figure that out.
What are the issues?
Shortly. One of the issues he brought up was he wanted to know what the wireless access points were, in terms of the brand and model,
Right.
to make sure that they work with the Extreme Networks switches that he specified.
I thought we addressed that a while ago.
We did. It looks like the email that I forwarded from Josh to Tony with the specs of the network switches maybe didn't get to the. We don't know if it got to the electrician.
All right, but we provided it.
We provided it after the same day that Josh provided to us on 4/9, and so it's assumed that it was priced that way. The security and access control PCO.
3 days ago.
Basically, the switch that they provided, that they submitted on, just is slightly less capacity than the one that Josh provided. So they just need to provide the one that Josh would like.
But we only provided that to them on April 9th.
I think that was the date that I found.
Okay.
Yeah. And just a little bit more on while we were on technology, we were expecting. I know Paige would like to get the fiber line into the building to get the network set up. They were a little bit behind on the IT room, having that ready. We expect that when it's turned over to us, that it's a clean environment, the door's on and secure, and it's clean. There's no dust and stuff like that. The fiber infrastructure, that's kind of a town-wide upgrade and coming into the building. That material is in town, and in talking with Josh, they're going to try to prioritize making the connection from the building out to the street sooner than later, and if needed, which we probably will need, a temporary wireless network connection from the current admin building to the new building, just to get some of the commissioning done and some of that equipment that needs to tie into the network. So just upcoming work items, finishing windowsills and trim throughout. We have the equipment lift and owner equipment installations. There's one piece of equipment that we're buying, a tire changer, that needs a
Got delivered today.
electrical connection that's not already roughed in.
Right.
So
Did we address that Wednesday?
yeah, we have a proposal request. I checked with Mike today, and he hasn't issued it yet, but he's working on it with the electrical engineer. So I suggested that they just issue it as a CCD and to be tracked on T&M,
Right.
just so we can just keep it moving.
Going right.
But if I don't see that tomorrow, I would assume I'll see it tomorrow. Tel data and MDF finish over the next month or a few weeks. Boiler ERU and VRF pre-startup is this week. Town, we just talked about town move out for the green building to get that ready for abatement and demo. We got the furniture is scheduled to be delivered on the 27th, and we have security and access control work that will be ongoing once the submittal is approved. Finished door hardware, construction and final cleaning towards a couple weeks out. More mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, finish and startups, commissioning, punch list, and exterior improvements. So probably going to be pretty close by the next committee meeting we have. I noted the schedule adjustment here that was formalized in change order number 6 that brings the completion date to 7/31, and these are some of the key milestones here. So you can see final completion here, 7/31. They're gonna hope a little bit ahead of that will be the final punch list around the site, and their substantial completion 7/17.
Cool.
Project budget update. We are with the invoices over last month. We're at 77.8% complete. This is through change order 6, which had a credit of 181,214.14 change order 6. Just run through it real quick. That included the credit for the scheduled unit prices for the soils that weren't needed to be removed off site. That was a credit of $302,750. There was an add of $55,577.04 for the PCO 16R3, which was the extended general conditions. PCO 17R2 was the security upgrades for $62,852.88. PCO 19 was for some additional equipment in the wash bay for $2,730, and there was missing a markup on that they picked up after it was approved. So that PCO 20 was for the markups for $375.94, and then the time extension was a no cost change, which increased the schedule from the last formalized schedule for by 99 calendar days to 7/29.
Okay. I suppose we are still waiting for a proposal from CMS as to how your contract is affected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have talked internally about it. I mean, I don't, I still think we're probably going to be ahead of maybe where they're projecting based on what I've seen now, but I think we should just, it'd be nice if we could get Tom covered. I don't want to, you don't need to pay me for my time. If we're say we're 2 months extra, maybe we can just split it in half. I'll take a month and we'll pay Tom's time on the other month.
Well, let's think
Something like
about
that.
that.
I mean,
And
we'll
communicate with Mary
yeah.
Beth so we can start.
I do have time in here for closeout. So if we really don't have to, with the commissioning agent, obviously we're picking up stuff that may not get, be an issue after the fact, that sometimes gets flushed out in the closeout period. So.
Well, Rick will volunteer to help you.
Well, it does seem like the requisition has been, changed so that we can make it to the end with what we got. It does seem to me.
Yeah.
Because we were running at 45,000 for a while, which was ahead of to try to spend the money, so to speak, before the contract, before the final completion date. So
Right.
now it seems to be modified to get us to the end.
Yeah, I mean, we adjusted it slightly to get, I guess, a little bit back on track of, and just to kind of, for cash flow for the next few months and stuff like that. So,
I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that there's going to be some adjustments here.
Well, it is in the weekly notes. We bring it up.
Right. Yeah, that's probably not where we should be talking about CMS's contract either.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to just review it at the end if we can. I mean, if
Well,
we
we're actually doing the architect as well. And Greg doesn't seem to be
exactly.
at all. He doesn't seem to be concerned at all with adding any.
Nothing phases that guy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of lumped in with him on the weekly meeting.
Right. So I just bring it up to make sure that we don't forget that there may be some pending adjustments. And, like I said, those are conversations between the town and the two contractors, not part of the weekly discussion we have with the GC. Tell Tony he has to pay that ass.
Yeah.
That'll get a response.
I did bring that up once, if you recall.
I remember.
Well, if they go beyond July, they will be. Greg's a little bit behind in his billing, but he's at. I mean, if you look at his CA services, he's due to bill, but he hasn't totally. I mean, they're pretty far along at 90%.
You don't misunderstand me. I'm not inviting you to bill us. I just.
We're looking pretty good for environmental. It looks like the way things are tracking, knock on wood, that, as long as there's no surprises into the green building.
That's what I'm holding my breath for.
Know.
Because this went just way too smooth, the back area. It has not been my experience that that's the way it works in this town.
Yeah. We'll see.
As evidenced by several LSPs we've employed over the years.
Commissioning, we just got started, so there's not much there. Construction 83% complete. 82% complete on just miscellaneous project expenses, and with that last change order, we have $962,585 available in contingency, which is under. We're negative 16.1% usage of contingency.
Right. Are there any questions regarding the financials before we vote on the payments?
We do have that other builder's risk extension bill that will come in.
You do? Okay.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay.
But it's $5,671.
So we could vote on that, yeah.
Yeah, I forwarded that.
Okay.
It's how much?
$5,671.
I think I'd make a motion to pay that now.
Right.
Waiting, because it expires on the 22nd, is that correct?
Yeah,
I think the extension brings us to start on the 23rd to the end of the project.
this is all set and it's in place.
Yeah, we'll never have a problem
There's
with
not a
Meyer on
problem.
it.
He said it's all set. It's confirmed to be extended to August 30th, and an invoice will be issued shortly. So I'm just waiting for the invoice to pay it.
Yeah.
This is all set through
Good.
August. We're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
We have a pay rec for $1,012,000 $12,756.36. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second for discussion. So the only thing I just want to mention on the requisition is this is our 14th requisition. And this is the 14th time that we've amended it before we paid. So just so you know, this time the change was due to the fact that the contractor was going to bill us for 16R3, which is the extension of time, which doesn't start until the 23rd. They were billing us for 86% of that PCO. So we kicked that back. So just so you know, it's 14 in a row.
Well, we appreciate the sharp focus on those
Well,
line
it's a
items.
team effort. We do have a good OPM here as well.
Okay, is there a motion? There is a motion. There's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. There's an invoice for $20,000 for CMS. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And there is a pending invoice for builder's risk through Mass Interlocal Insurance Association for $5,671. Is there a motion to authorize that?
Sorry.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
They're all unanimous.
And that construction monitoring services, it says
It's,
DPW, it's 16, correct?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
If you want, I'll send you a new one anyways for this one, and then if do you want me to just you want that mile? Well, it's approved at this one, so do you want me to put it on a
I just want
letter?
something rather than me just changing it to a 6 for the accounting office.
Yeah.
If you can just send
But
me.
what about
even
the
a-
Maya one? Do you want me to add that to? Because we don't have the.
No, we don't have
formal
a bill yet. I
invoice
think we just
No.
voted so that when it comes in.
Well,
we can
we've
go-
authorized payment.
Yeah.
Once the invoice comes in,
We'll put it. I'll put it in the.
you'll
budget.
get copied and
Yeah.
we'll build it into
Yeah.
the expense record for the project.
All right.
Okay,
So you want project pictures?
yes, let's do that.
These-
Can I see the panel that Rick is happy with?
Oh, he's not happy yet, so
No,
this is gas.
stomach between. I'm not really ecstatic about it.
Well, they,
About the window?
Yeah, the infill.
Did this go the right direction though?
It was. Yes.
I haven't looked that closely.
anyways,
Every
this,
time I go by, I look at it to see if it's changed.
I liked it when the lull was parked in front of us.
Yeah.
It was
Well, you look at
means and
these,
methods.
Yeah.
you look at these pictures, and sometimes you have to have an imagination to appreciate
Okay. I got a couple of
what
questions.
they represent.
When is the front building coming down, the green building?
Soon.
Soon. What I'm thinking about is I can remember when we built the new gas station, the fuel station, and when they were digging up, they found oil tanks and stuff underground. We're not expecting to see any of that under the. green building.
We knew that, Dan. We knew that in 2006
we
when
already
we
cleaned up
brought DEP in and we installed the monitoring wells.
Yeah.
oil tank in the beginning.
So
That was in the back.
nothing would surprise me, but I'm hoping that since the floor is intact, that there's not going to be anything under it.
And it's that building so old that we can have a moment of silence as they knock it
Yeah,
down.
when they moved,
Actually, it's not that old.
When they took out the old fuel depot, there were fuel tanks under
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So we knew those were there.
yeah,
So this building here has been sitting there for 100 years, and it's no basement.
yep.
So
We don't know what's under it.
Maybe Pettinelli's there. Don't put that in the minutes.
It's all right. It's on the
I was
recording.
going to say.
So how old is it?
I'm trying to think when they researched that. What was it in 28? It's less than 100 years old. And we had been under the impression that it was older.
You don't
And
have to make it to 100 to.
when they had to do the research for the title and the issue with the transfer station, Kathy dug up some more information, and was it 26 maybe? That's sticking in my head.
Maybe, I don't know, I have to pull that all out.
But it's almost 100.
Yeah, because the upstairs caught on fire.
I remember walking through that and thinking, gee, wow, we're still working in here.
Locker rooms, everything.
And that was 30 years ago.
By the time I started.
Yeah.
It was all charred the first time I saw
Oh,
it.
yeah, so was they, yeah.
Oh.
Dan, I just wanted to throw one. Yeah. Talking about the fuel depot, we did talk a little bit last week about the potential for, that we were gonna bring to the full committee, that there was going to be some upgrades to the fuel depot
That the
possibly.
communication line between it.
Well, I think we would have to do that, yeah.
I have an update on that. So we had a site visit from Mike Trask. He's a fuel management person. And so there was concern that the overfill alarm system was old. And we knew that the pedestal for the card reader was new because we just installed it, maybe 4 years ago. So that wasn't going to be an issue. But they inspected and tested the overfill system, alarm system we have now, and they said it's all good. He goes, as much as I'd like to get some work from you guys, he goes, take that, put it over in the building. And he talked with the electrician and Peter and myself, and they have a plan, and there's not going to be any
No change order.
no change.
Great.
Good, that's good, because we're gonna bring it up at this meeting for the
Yeah.
potential of discussion.
That's good.
That's good news.
Good, thanks.
They're going to leave like an extra line, so if in the future they want to do any kind of level monitoring device.
Yeah, anytime we dig like that, we really ought to run a,
Yeah, because
Spare
there's
run.
things out there where you can tell the levels of fuels.
it's a lot cheaper doing it now than digging it up later.
But for now, we'll stick it.
That's why we did Cat 6 and why we did extra runs when we wired this building.
I do have. I don't know if it's appropriate time. So they were talking about the equipment getting delivered today. I
Sure.
already have the invoice for that. So
Oh.
I made copies before I came here, and I left the original on the copy machine.
Okay.
I got
So-
one too. I uploaded it on.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe
From the Hunter delivery this morning?
No, the Hunter delivery was, it is Hunter equipment, but it's through Lappin's garage.
Right, Lappin's is the sheet of
Right.
slip that I have, yeah.
Right, so Lappin's, this is for the equipment, like the tire changer,
Right.
tools and stuff like that, and it was $62,010. That just came today. Now, I don't know if you want to wait until I have the original in my hand to bring to the next meeting, because, equipment just came today. I don't know if them waiting a month to have the invoice processed.
Well, we have, 30 days to pay it.
Be over.
I'm actually surprised the invoice came with the equipment.
I guess we can do a contingent vote on it that, subject to receipt and,
That it matches. And
what's the number, Bruce?
you have copy?
I have multiple copies. I just
Oh, good. Okay.
That's all we need.
take one down, pass it around.
Oh.
That one. So the original copy just had a third page that had the totaled out these numbers.
That's it.
That's all right.
Has
I just
the
like, is there,
order number.
do you guys get a service agreement at all with this? And maybe it's not too late.
To get one, yeah.
Like, yeah, it must need something after.
Right. So when I
6
talked to
months.
him in person, it was like, you come by, he'll train us.
Oh, okay.
That's why
Yeah, so it's built.
going through this company out of Southeastern as opposed to the Hunter distributor that was in.
Is there a third page, Bruce?
Yeah, the third page is on the printer. And that just had the total on it, so.
Okay.
So this doesn't have a total.
No, if you take the numbers in the far right column on both pages, I just did, it was 62010.
There's 2 tire changes and a balancer.
Tire changer, balancer, complete mega mod tool set and toolbox.
Oh, that's right. The 1,000-piece tool thing.
Yeah, that's the 11,327.
So is it $62,000?
That matches what I had from the
That's what I
purchase
got.
order.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to pay $62,010.
Okay, motions are made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, $62,010. We are voting this subject to receipt of the original invoice for processing by the town administrator's office.
Do you want to say the food and the invoice number? Lappin's Garage?
Sure. Lappin's Garage, invoice number 87176038. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Great.
That's enough.
This was, well, that was the same
Well, they won't have to wait for their money.
There we go.
toolbox with tools. And then that same exact thing.
If you have to buy anything from overseas, you probably should buy it in the next couple of days.
Well, we're still waiting on a PCO for the chain fall too, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
That's right.
Water and sewer department, I
That's
submitted
right.
stuff for a toolbox, a bench, the chain fall.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Tony said he was working on it last week, right?
Well, we'll
Maybe we get it ready for the
put
meeting?
it on a table for tomorrow, for Wednesday.
For Wednesday, yeah.
Maybe we can have Rick bring it up. That always cheers
Is that
me
the U-line stuff?
Yeah, the stuff, all the stuff I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to think. There was something else that was hanging that we talked about. My mind isn't what it used to be.
So I contacted Lappin's regarding some other equipment. So we were looking at a steel work table. So
Makes
every
sense.
garage has a table.
Sure.
Like we had one before. It was probably 12 feet long, and we had a vise mounted on it and
Right.
grinder mounted on it. Wire brush grinder. So I've asked Lappin's to provide. They said they could provide all that stuff also. So he sent me over a quote for a steel table that will accommodate the vise. I mean, the vise is, the vise is like $1,200. They never talk about it, but they're rugged. I mean, the things that we put our vices, because you never know what we're going to be working on in there. And then same thing with the grinding wheels. Like you see a grinding wheel with a wire brush on one side and a grinding wheel on the other that's table mounted. You might see one, at Lowe's for $350, but
Well, that's not made for the work you're going to
the
do.
ones we're looking at are more like $1,500,
Right.
$1,200. And to that end, I think the grinding wheel and wire brush that was mounted in the old garage that we had was there. I think it was there as long as I was there. And so
Yeah,
when you buy
we're not bringing it over.
equipment, it lasts. Yeah.
Maybe you can auction it off when we're done.
Yeah, he's going to get back to me on those things: the table, the vise, and the grinder.
What was it? Armor?
The old, yeah, we mounted it on a table at the end.
Do we expect to have another add to the FF&E based on those projected costs?
I think it's possible. Let me ask. Is there any more discussion about a forklift?
That's what I was.
So we haven't discussed it. We did get some pricing.
You got some pricing.
Pricing on reconditioned used machines that I think would be perfectly fine. With the bit of a savings there. We've talked about it. I don't think I think we really need one. Every time I walk in that garage and go up into that mezzanine, and that's a great space up there, but to get everything up there, we need a machine that will get those things up there. It doesn't have to be a super duper forklift. It just has to be able to go 14 foot free and lift like 1,000 pounds. And
Makes sense.
that we like Dave has a bunch of stuff loaded on pallets. We look at it all the time. We could put our spare tire rack up here, which is rugged metal rack, and then once we get that up there, bring the tires up one at a time, and put all the spare tires up there. Truck tires, they're huge, they're very heavy, but they're fine up there the other way. And
Then you can use them to bring them down.
You can use the forklift to bring them down one at a time as needed.
You need a pallet, fork, like a fork truck, a pallet jack?
Well, we have a pallet jack.
Yeah,
we
one
own.
of those.
So, we could use the forklift to get
How
the
high
van
does
up
it
there.
go? The pallet jack.
Well, pallet jack's just moving things around.
About
No.
2 feet, Dan.
It's a lift?
No.
Oh, it's not a lift,
Just
okay.
on the floor. It does.
Yeah, it's just a.
Is it power or is it full?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember right, it's pretty old.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just get a second one for up there. I mean,
Yeah.
I think those are the.
Yeah. We talked about that a while ago. It makes sense to get the right equipment to operate this place. And with the mezzanine, you need a lift.
Yeah. So they're going to be just. The price range is going to be around for some of the refurbished ones around 23 grand. And that's an electric, which I think is fine. You just put it off in the corner, you plug it in, and
Versus what new, Bruce?
closer to 30.
So when you say
I got to tell you, if we're talking 23 and 30, I'd be inclined to look at acquiring it new.
Warranty wise, right?
Warranty and service and all that. We're saving $7,000 in the first week. The oil pump goes and the piston's gone.
I would just be interested in putting expenditures for FF&E in the context of the global position of the town now, with capital needs. And I know this really goes beyond this building committee, but we should be absolutely providing everything that the DPW needs at this point.
I agree.
But we should not go overboard with an expectation that other departments are gonna suffer in 2 years.
Right.
Because we're gonna be strapped for free cash.
Our function is to get what we need to make this work.
I'd say
Yeah.
that is our function, yeah.
Bruce, I have a question on the jack. Does it come with, it's their battery, right? It's a battery operated jack. Huge battery. I have in my warehouse that lifts, right?
Yeah,
Does it come with the
Why are we
charger?
talking about this?
I'll have to find all that out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you just plug them into a wall.
Well, we're not looking at buying one of those, Dan. So we have that, right?
No, I'm talking about the lift.
Oh, the
Jack
lift.
that lifts the
Okay.
pallets up.
Yeah.
I used to have 10.
When I hear jack, I'm thinking something on the floor that lifts 6 to 10 inches.
Right. It's like one row pallet. lift it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I had at my warehouse. And you needed something to
I'll-
plug it in.
I'll walk into doing some more in-depth
Okay.
research on it.
We only have 2 more meetings.
So when is that next meeting? We do it yet.
Have we
Next
looked
meeting's
at
the second week of June.
combis for equipment?
11th from
I have
June 9th.
9th, okay.
Maybe we can have Todd look at combis and see what's out there. I would think that would be a piece of equipment that throughout the state is bought pretty frequently.
Oh yeah, there might be. I think most of the places I reached out to are on state contract.
Yeah.
And then July 14th should be the last meeting. So we'll see.
From your lips to God's ears.
I'd make a recommendation it be a dinner meeting too.
A modest enemy.
Not
Well, the finish date's July 31. We might need a.
Yeah, do we need a
No.
It's going to be
Nothing more
just
expensive
approve
than
invoices and miscellaneous bills. Will probably be
Send.
have to have a quick meeting for
in August?
in
We'll have to have
August
one.
August a little
and
bit.
potentially.
Yeah,
I said nothing more expensive than salmon.
All right, I'll put it one in.
Lobster crosses the line.
Second week of August.
Be prepared.
Hold. Let's put a hold.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be our liquidated damage meeting.
Ouch.
Now that one might really be a way on.
Oh, yes. Anything else we need to cover?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
I would be happy to entertain that motion if there's a second.
Second?
And we have a second, and all in favor, it is non-debatable.
Aye.
We are done.